What happens when an average high school athlete ends up drafted into the NHL? And what do you get when that same athlete sits down with his dad, a U.S. Army vet, a former mayor, and a man who doesn't hold back? Well, you get grit, you get legacy, and you get one hell of a father-son conversation. This is the story of Mike and Bill Murray. How a near-death medical scare, a forgotten cassette tape, and years of quiet perseverance built something bigger than hockey. Well, let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Chase & Tail, the gear brand for folks who'd rather smell like deer piss and fish guts than cologne. Whether you're in a stand freezing your tail off or knee-deep in the river lying to your buddies about the one that got away, Chase & Tail's got you covered. Built tough, no gimmicks, no glitter, just the kind of gear your granddad would respect. Check out chaseandtail.com and chase something worth bragging about. Welcome to Cumberland Unfiltered podcast, and tonight's kind of a milestone for us. This is number 10. We have now put out 10 podcasts. By the way, I'm Caleb, the suburban country boy. Over here we got Brad.
Yep.
Nacho Mayor. That's what we call him.
Nacho Libre.
El Dino Toro.
That's right, the Cumberland Boogeyman.
On the other side, Jason. And tonight we have a couple, I would say, pretty big guests. First off, this guest is he started off as an average hockey player, but he became an elite hockey player, and you'll get that story from him tonight. Currently, he's a hockey coach, and also he's the author of a book that we're going to talk about a little bit tonight called Chasing the Goal. Mike Murray, and then his father is here. That's going to be a fun conversation, right?
Lucky me. Notice they didn't seat them together.
So
I'm ready.
Bill
I'm supposed
Murray,
to stop the punches.
former Mayor Murray, a U.S. Army veteran. Mm-hmm. He rose to senior vice president of Allied Wood. He was there for, how long would you say you were there?
34 years.
34 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you founded and led Bill Murray and Associates.
Correct.
And then for a while, you were Cumberland Town Councilman. That we'll get into that a little bit.
Right.
Then you were the mayor of Cumberland.
Correct.
From 2015 to 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And his bio is a little bit longer than yours. Did I miss anything?
I wrote a book.
There we go.
That's the bio.
And now he's.
By the way, I'm writing the
should have brought it.
I'm writing the sequel.
Okay.
So I just to throw that out. He's not going to beat me on this one.
But now
I know yours will be 80% half true.
That's why this is going to be fun tonight. So now you're on 4 boards.
Correct.
And you work in the industry.
I work
sector.
with an energy company, Best Practice Energy.
Energy sector. What did I say? Industry sector?
Yeah, well, doesn't matter.
Somewhere.
I don't even know how to turn a light pole on. But I represent them.
Well, our last guest said that he knows absolutely nothing about computers.
Yep.
But he ran a multi-million-dollar
That's right.
computer tech industry.
Sold it for $30 million. And then lost it all.
Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
We've been kind of talking about this for a little while, right? Having you guys on, like from the very beginning, we kind of said, "Hey, we want you to come on as a guest." And I didn't really meet you until after we had started the show,
Right.
And then you wrote the book, and
Yep.
I said, "Well, that's a reason to have him on."
Count your blessings. Good time.
That's right.
And the only reason I'm on is because of him. You guys never invited me.
You know what? This is
So
I'm carrying you once again.
Let's make it clear.
no. You would have been on eventually. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're happy to have both of you on. So, tell us a little bit about the book, Mike. That's kind of how we.
Yeah, how'd you get started? How'd you come to the?
That's a good question. It's a little bit of a loaded question. So the book I kind of started 16 years ago. So,
oh wow,
you write slow.
Very slow.
That's a word
See
of
my high school grades. I back it up.
Chapter 1.
But when we're having my daughter, and my wife was pregnant, and we learned we're gonna have our first kid, we had struggled for about 5 years to have a kid. We figured I had 2 older brothers, older sister, had 3 kids. We figured, okay, once we start, boom, boom, we'll have 3 kids, and that's going to be our lives. Well, that didn't happen. So 5 years later, we find out we're going to have our kid for the first time.
Yeah.
And so you get a little sentimental, I think. So I started writing kind of a journal that I'd leave her in case I wasn't around.
Your kid.
My kid.
Yeah.
For some reason, if I wasn't around, she'd have a journal of what I did, hearing it from me. So that's how it started, probably 5 years off and on. Nothing seriously. I would write a little bit, maybe a story here and there. And then when she started playing sports, I kind of left it alone because I was teaching her my story as I started coaching. So my niece, my nephew started playing hockey. I was kind of out of hockey for a good 10 to 15 years. And I kind of told my daughter, I'm like, listen, just try it out. She didn't want to play. I'm like, just try it so I can check the box. And she fell in love with it. So I started coaching. Fast forward 2 years ago, I got hit with a pretty bad illness, vertigo.
Yeah.
And I was been coaching hockey now for, 8 years at the time. I get hit with it so bad they had to rush me to the hospital, and they get me in the ICU, and they said, you're having a major stroke.
Oh, geez.
Really?
So, yeah, so they had to give me, they say, here's a choice. You can either.
I knew there was something wrong with you.
You don't know the half of it.
I was going to
You
add
obviously
that.
haven't read the book.
Well, so
I bought it. I haven't read it yet.
So they gave me a choice. You can take this life-saving medication.
Yeah.
It's a super blood thinner called TPA.
Yeah.
Or you cannot take it and maybe live with the remnants of a stroke. So, I didn't know I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Didn't know how I was going to function. So we said, yes, take the medication, ICU. 24 hours later, they were like, my wife's like, could it be anything else? We're like, it could be, but we're pretty sure it's a stroke.
How old were you at that point?
It was 2 years ago. So
Wow.
I was 38.
No. 62.
Hey, the father's 62.
Yeah. So I got knee deep into coaching. Like right when I started coaching, I never wanted to coach really. And once I started, I was all in. So all of a sudden I'm faced with a moment of like, I don't know if I'll ever coach again.
Yeah.
So for about 9 months, I lived with this. They couldn't figure out what it was. They found out it's not a stroke after 24 hours. And they basically like, you can leave. I'm like, I can't walk. How can I leave? But they're like, figure it out on your own. They just want to save your life. And I'm like, leave. So I ended up 9 months of trying to figure it out. And during those 9 months, I had a lot of time on my hands of thinking, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go out in public, really. I couldn't go out to dinner. I couldn't, I was coaching, and that was about it. From the bench, I didn't like being around a lot of people. Vertigo really, really messes you up. And I had a really rare form of it. So I kind of started, I needed to fill my mind with something.
Yeah.
And actually have a new goal. And it formed into this, well, maybe I'll turn this story into a book.
Yeah.
And when I started researching it, I found a publishing company. I started going on their webinars, and I decided, you know what, I'm doing this. Right. And I set a goal to write the book, and then 8 months later, boom, I have a book. I published the book.
No kidding.
Yeah. And that's the podcast, people. Have a good night.
So wait, you said 16 years. How much of it was the first 15, and how much of it was the last eight months? You know what I mean?
How much did I write?
Yeah,
probably,
like how much?
I probably wrote maybe, call it 33% of the book, right? And it was just all like, I'd saved it. I had it on a thumb drive. I kind of didn't even,
when you think of something,
I thought you were going to say you wrote it with a quill pen.
Yeah.
So it really was just you not having the opportunity, and I mean, it's a blessing that you made it out of that.
Yeah.
But you also got the opportunity from.
It's kind of like a diary that you.
It
turned into a story.
Quite honestly, the book would have never happened if I didn't get hit with vertigo.
Yeah.
It would have never happened.
True. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Because I was just
Life's busy.
Yeah, and I at that moment, I don't know if this will make sense to you, but when I'm sitting in the hospital in the ICU, and they say you're having a major stroke, and I'm cutting every deal I can with God.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone. I literally could show you the notes on my phone.
No, I've been
and say, hey, you get me out of this one, I'll do this, this, and this. Yeah. So one of them was like, not living with regret. And that's how I always taught and coach my kids, don't live with regret. Do everything possible the best you can be. And the results are going to be results. You can live with that.
Yeah.
So I kind of was in that sort of a mindset and just kind of set that new goal, that new path. And I said, you know what, if I'm not paying this forward and what I learned from my career, and I thought to myself in the hospital, one thing gave me comfort in the hospital is that I had life insurance. and I thought, if I'm not going to be here when my wife and kid are
going to be okay,
they're going to be taken care of. They're going to be okay. I go, writing this book, if this makes sense, was my life insurance. If I leave here, they're going to know who I am. My kid, my grandchildren, my family is going to know my story. So it's kind of like my life insurance. Sure. They had theirs. They're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And for me, mentally, I'm like, I got to set a new goal and get this out because I think it's impactful. I know what I went through was unique and rare, and I think if I'm not passing along those lessons, then what are you here for?
Yeah. So
I had this,
tell that
almost
story.
the same situation like when I went to Afghanistan, and my son was 1.5 when I left, and I was going for a year, and I got there and I was like, I started just jotting notes down, thinking, I'll mail them out, send them letters. And then it was like a meat grinder over there. I'm like, holy shit. Same thing though. I was like, I got to leave him something to remember me by because I might not be back.
I don't know you are, yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, it took me a year though to do that.
Yeah.
what did you leave him?
16.
Did you leave him anything?
No, it's like I filled 2 notebooks. It's in a closet somewhere. Somebody will find it eventually.
Yeah,
they'll read it and they'll be like, this guy was messed up.
When you're dead, they clean out your shit. They're like, what's this book?
I'll write a book now so we can get together.
That's his debt ledger. He's left him this debt ledger.
I feel what you're saying because you think about that.
Yeah.
You don't think about that until you're faced with it. And then you're like, oh my God, these people, how much do people really know, especially people you care about, you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
So tell your story about how it began, like where it started.
Well, first off,
we didn't even know it. So 2 years, although I always bragged with our 5 kids that Michael, you could put straw under his fingernails and set it on fire, and he still wouldn't tell you what was going on. I had another son who I used to say, please, do not tell your mother and myself and your sisters any more stories about Assumption. So I'll just give you an example of the 2 kids.
Assumption.
So Michael, I had 2 at Assumption, went to Assumption.
That sounds like something from the Civil War.
Well, it's close to it. It's up on the hill. So, but he came to us in, I think, Christmas time.
Yeah.
And he goes, Mom and Dad, I wrote a book. We go, what? After pushing him through school, I said, you wrote a book? Now, a sidelight of it, my dad was a great newspaper man. He was an editor of the Lowell Sun, up in Lowell, obviously.
Yeah.
A founder, by the way, of the Golden Gloves in New England.
Oh, no kidding.
And we just found that out through one of those AI, is it?
Yeah,
AI?
Oh, really?
It's quite a... He told,
cool,
he told me a little bit about it, but we never knew. But anyway, it's a little sidetracked. But anyway,
that's all right.
We knew with Lowell, and then he went to New York and was the head of Fairchild's publication, Women's Wear Daily, which was one of the biggest advertising papers in the world. And so it was always funny because I never saw his writing ability within my family, my kids. I didn't have it. And Michael was up at Cushing, and one of his reports came back. I won't talk about the others, but the one report came back from one of his professors with the statement, what a great writer he is. And I thought about it. Of course, it came to light after the book. I said to myself, maybe he's the one that got the talent from my father. And after reading the book, I said, yes, because I've seen stuff that my dad wrote that was unbelievable. He could write, unfortunately, he passed away at 56, so we never saw anything that he, officially, he was going to write books when he finished. So I add that to to the story. So we didn't know it.
And the
Yeah,
DNA.
Mike picks up where he left off.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I believe it because nobody
Never met
else.
him.
Yeah.
My grandfather
No, never met him,
He passed away before I was born.
Wow.
Nobody in my mind had the talent that my dad had, except even within my cousins and brothers and everything else. So, again, when I read the book, I went, "Wow!" That was the first thought that I had. Was that this is neat?
Yeah.
I said I believe strongly that he took after my father. And I think it was the only thing he passed in Cushing, but I won't go that far
I got through
further.
it.
Yeah.
You're gonna say,
And I just want to make sure my siblings are going to hear that part.
Oh, okay. All right.
are you gonna say? Are you gonna say that you didn't find out about his illness until you read his book?
Pretty much so. So I'll even add to
He just thought he was lazy. He's
So,
like, why is this
no.
guy lying on the couch?
No, they didn't call me. We didn't know until he was in ICU.
Okay.
Because I have a tendency to not being calm. And so
We've heard. I never saw that.
his wife Joy called his sister rather than me because she knew I would. They couldn't get him out of the car, if I remember the story.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And they got him to the hospital. They wouldn't call me until they knew a little bit more because I don't take things easy as
No.
people who knew me as mayor. So
So why?
So we didn't.
We've heard the stories.
So,
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, so we don't know. We didn't know.
Right on. Well, so that's why. That's the why.
Yeah.
And so let's kind of like rewind back. Like, tell us the story. Like as a child. Like obviously we could. We're here to talk about his book. I'm sorry. It's not centered on you. Like we could tell you.
I'll give you some more.
What were you in?
I'll throw you a bone here.
All
You
right.
owe me money right now.
I gotta go. I
You owe
gotta
me
go
money.
anyway.
We'll go 50-50 on the expenses right in the book.
All right, let's get this over with.
You were a veteran.
Hey, at
right?
least
Yeah.
at least he hasn't called me Justin yet.
Has he done that?
They're in the
In the
parade.
beginning of the it's right to the parade.
I mean, you do look like a Justin. Not gonna lie. Just in time. So you were an Army veteran.
I was.
How long were you in the Army?
2 years.
I didn't know that you were.
Yep.
He was in the Army too.
Yeah, but there's a big difference.
You were
know,
better.
I think so.
He drove a general. He was actually
Hey,
poor.
Yeah,
he was smarter because he was only in 2 years.
There you
let's
go.
put it this way: they took the gun away from me, and I never carried a gun in my 2 years because I did. I worked with the Lieutenant General of U.S. First Army,
Really?
and that was my 2 year stunt.
What
And,
year was that?
Yes.
Which years?
So that was
1867.
I hate to admit it, 1958 to 60.
Oh, nice.
And he was a former superintendent at West Point. But
Great, yeah.
that's getting into my story. Go back to my
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
we've kind of got to know a little bit about who you are to really understand who he is, right?
yeah.
So obviously,
My athletic ability, is that what
well,
you're talking about?
the drive, the
Thank you.
We already heard about the mustache.
I
Yeah.
just say.
The
mustache.
temper. I think I got that part.
Competitive spirit.
the perseverance, right? The perseverance. I just want to try something real quick, Jake. Anonymity. No, I'm just kidding.
I can't say anonymity. Anonymity.
All right.
Yes.
So,
I love
what year were you born? Like
71.
71.
Yep.
And that was obviously you were doing your
When did you start hockey?
70.
70.
And a half now.
I just say.
Probably he was running, so I was the fourth out of the five kids.
he was running.
He was running the youth hockey program in Cumberland.
Oh, so you were into hockey too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there you go. See,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I was trying to
So
to
he
get
kind of
to,
helped
so.
start. He moved up from New York in 65,
63.
63. Okay, thanks for correcting that.
That's a jump to 11.
But it was hockey crazy at that time. Bobby Orr, kind of on the heels of Bobby Orr era. And he was running the league. So it was like daycare for him
Yeah.
to be like, you know what, just throw him on the ice, even though he was like
old
3
were
years. That's probably like
He's 3 years old.
Yeah.
3
3 years old.
And that was his daycare, so he wouldn't have to take care of me all day. Just throw me on the ice. Or
Because his
we
mother
played-
didn't like him.
That's true.
You know that.
Although I'm the favorite now. Which is kind of weird.
Seems,
Now they have
Funny
a
how
lot
that
of
works.
company.
Only because he wrote a book. Does his mother like him now?
That's true. But he wasn't a hockey guy when he moved. He was a football guy. moving up here. And then it was hockey crazy, kind of took over Cumberland Hockey Youth Association. And then, we kind of all grew up playing in it. And it was my neighborhood. Tons of kids from my own neighborhood were playing Cumberland Youth Hockey. And it was like the big thing. But every sport, we played every sport. And he was an accomplished athlete himself. He was an all-state soccer goalie.
Is that in the book, by the way?
I don't think it is, actually.
That's
It got edited out.
No.
sequel, right? The sequel.
But certainly his competitiveness, I just grew up around sports. Him running that, he was heavily involved in the Cumberland Youth Baseball. Our house was nonstop. The TV was some sort of sporting event.
Sports.
And I had an older brother, my brother Kevin, 3 years older, that played football, hockey, and baseball, my sports. And I was lucky because I get to compete against him every single day. And so it was kind of that's the environment I grew up in, the neighborhood I grew up in, Rolling Acres, Countryside Drive in Cumberland. I mean, for us, it was what for-profit sports is now. Like, you walk outside the door and we had every sport imaginable every day.
Not to interrupt you about Rolling Acres, but so my son wanted to go to his mother's house, and halfway there he goes, "You know what, Dad? No, I'll go help you in the yard." I turn, I'm going through Rolling Acres, and I told him when I was a kid, this place was packed with kids. Yeah. This was the Halloween central place of Cumberland. You would go to Rolling Acres, and that's where all the kids were. Yep. And he was like, "Where are they now?" I'm like, "Well, these neighborhoods, they have this, this turnover. You know what I mean?
Probably a million bikes too.
Well,
huh?
the sports.
Oh.
Sports are way too organized. There's no more free time. Like
That's all we did.
Sundays. We never did anything on Sundays. Sundays was like a total off day. Couldn't get liquor. Couldn't go to a store. Everything was closed.
Yeah.
But
Then
that's
you
your
get
thing.
stuff on Saturday. It was Sunday. It was like a family day. I mean, think about it. We grew up playing football in the backyard, wiffle ball in the street, basketball.
Rolling Acres just always had to seem to have so many more kids in that little concentrated neighborhood than any other flat.
And we made a rink, actually, back of the Gato's house, right?
The Mooney's Pond.
Mooney's, and it was a swamp.
Yeah.
And a couple of the guys, we got together and cleaned it.
So
and
we're
these
trying to
kids
do
went
now.
up. We didn't have to.
That's right. Yeah.
And it froze back then.
Yeah.
It froze for as long
froze
as
back then. Yes.
When
you're
we were
Yeah, it was pond hockey every weekend.
every weekend when I got off the bus, because we
Every
probably
weekend.
practice 1 day a week, with a practice in 4 days a week now.
Yeah.
1 day a week. So other than that, we're the pond was frozen, off the bus until it was nightfall,
Yeah.
and then Saturdays and Sundays we weren't playing. We were up at the crack of dawn.
Yep.
I would pack a bag of clothes and soup,
Pick up hockey.
and
Yep.
we were on the ice, and it
kidding.
produced about 6 or 7 high school hockey players out of my neighborhood alone.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And all really good athletes, really
Couple of
good
good-
golfers.
I mean, think about it. Skating on the
because
pond
he-
versus a rink.
All because he needed
Totally, yeah.
a daycare.
Well, not that I needed it, but his mother did.
It was a different era, though. That was the era when your mom, like, the early mornings, like, go outside and don't come back until
Don't go
like,
back
the street lights are on.
Straight lights come
lights.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Now
eat-
it's like,
Because he talks about his competition with his brother. And
Now
my wife became one of the best referees you'd ever want to meet.
My 8-year-old. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, no.
My 8-year-old pulled that on me the other day. By the way, I told him he had to come in, and it was starting to get dark, and he's like, "But Dad, the street light's not even on. What are you talking about?" I'm
Yes.
like,
You can hear the
touche,
bell.
You got
Ding,
me.
ding,
Yep.
ding, ding.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
interrupt you though, man.
No,
Go
that-
ahead.
No.
But that's how it kind of all started for me as an athlete and growing up in that. So I was just an obsessed athlete, and I was, I had a sports split personality because I wasn't just a hockey player. I was a baseball player. I was a football player. Whatever the season one, he was big on playing sports in the season. And that was kind of in the mid '80s to late '80s. That's when it was kind of like turning towards, even back then, a little bit of specialization, where the top players were now playing year round at that point. But I still stuck to the season. And so my story was at that time, growing up in Cumberland, you went to really one school if you want to be a serious hockey player, is Mount St. Charles.
Yep.
Because they had
They were the creme de la creme
They
back
had
then.
2 number 1 picks overall that came out of Mount St. Charles NHL. They had numerous Olympians. Every other kid seemed to be a D1 player. And if you were a serious hockey player, that's where you went. And for me, I never wanted really to go to Mount. I was born and bred in Cumberland. I tried to play for Cumberland. I wanted to play at Cumberland High School. Dick Lynch, Mr. Lynch to me, was the principal at the time. And he ran the Rhode Island Interscholastic League. He was like my mentor, my hero. I wanted to go to high school where he was the principal, and then with all my friends to this day, or a majority of them are my high school football teammates, not even hockey, but so that's kind of, I went that path where all my peers and friends, that kind of the better kids in the state of hockey, were going to Mount, Hendrick, and LaSalle. Wow. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it my own way.
Yeah.
And I don't regret it a bit, but it made it a huge, huge challenge for me because I was so far behind everybody else by the time I graduated high school.
Yep.
And I'm sure that the scouts aren't looking at Cumberland now.
No.
They're going to Mount every weekend.
Yeah, going to Mount.
100%.
Looking at Cumberland.
So that year, my senior year at Mount St. Charles had 5 kids that went D1 off of their team.
Wow.
5 kids.
No kid.
Now, that year, I think I broke the state record in scoring. I had it over 105 points in 25 games.
Holy cow.
And I didn't make first, second team All-State or honorable mention.
way.
So I was not considered one of the top 15 players in Rhode Island after I scored 100 points.
So average.
And to be all
That's
serious, I was average. I really was. In the terms of like where I wanted to be was a world-class athlete. And at that moment, 17, 18 years old, looking back, I was average. I was below average compared to where I wanted to go. Now, the kids from Mount, like I didn't hop on the ice for the first time until the day after Thanksgiving because I played the Thanksgiving football game.
Oh, yeah.
The next day, I traded them the cleats for my skates.
Yep.
And I would skate till March, and that was it. And then I was on the baseball. So we didn't really skate in the summer. But the kids, my competition, the Mount kids or the LaSalle kids, the Hendrick kids, they're playing all year. Yeah. And Mount practice 2 hours a day. We practice for 50 minutes. So all these things were stacked against me.
Yeah.
But I still had the belief that I was a really good athlete, right? And I think I was a very, very good average athlete, if that makes any sense.
Right.
I could play multiple sports at a competent level.
High level.
But I wasn't like super quick or fast or just jumped out of the gymnasium. I was a kid that just plodded along and had the work ethic and the desire and the goals to go after them and the understanding not to live with regret that this time's not going to come around again.
No,
I
you get one
believe-
shot, you get one crack at it, right?
Yeah,
Where
that's
did,
it.
Where did that transition happen when you went from average to professional? Like,
So I tell you where I kind of pinpoint where it happened. So the end of my junior year, I lost my sophomore year to a broken femur. So I broke my femur in my
hockey?
sophomore year of football.
Football.
Down at Hendricken, Columbus Day. I got sacked, snapped my femur. Lost a year of hockey, came back for baseball, but took me a while to
Did
get
he
back.
tell you about that, or did you have to?
Yeah.
No, we were late for that game, and I still hear it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We were late. I got
so
lost.
literally like a
Trying to figure out where
like-
your son was on the field. Where the
That's
hell did he
right.
go?
Yeah. What's he laying down for? Is he tired?
So you're like three years of your life without walking.
Well, yeah.
Between the femur and the stroke and all that.
should be well rested.
Not to backtrack, but I think it's an important part of the story
course,
now is
yes.
that to backtrack, I was playing youth football for Cumberland Colts, and I was 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And the 2 times my parents were late to a game.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
Number 2 was Hendricken when I broke my femur. And the first time we were playing, I think we were playing Pawtucket or Woodlawn Cowboys or whoever it was. 3 plays into the game, I'm like a linebacker. This big running back comes through the line, and I didn't know how to tackle, so I dove headfirst at everybody.
Yeah.
Snap my head back. I can't move.
Oh, jeez.
They rush me to the hospital. They think I'm paralyzed. I'm in like spinal shock.
You're 9
I'm
or
9
10.
or 10 years old.
10 years old.
10 years old.
This show is a miracle. This show is happening right now. It's a miracle.
I lost.
I read the book. I'm like, I think I had a lot of injuries.
I lost 5 years on that deal.
No kidding.
But I want to correct on this podcast.
All right.
We were there, but we had just walked in, and I heard this whack. And I looked at his mother, and I said, "That's Michael tackling." And I didn't even see who it was. But one of the scariest things was I got out to the field, and there was a nurse, LaForte's mother, came out. She said, "We can't move him." I said, "Okay."
Oh, man.
So they called the rescue, and my life was, I mean, just, I can't even describe it.
Yeah.
We did go to the hospital. I called Dick Lynch, who was my closest friend. I said, Dick, you got to come up here. Michael's paralyzed. And he came right up, and they had him on a gurney in the hallway. And every once in a while, the doctor would come out and snap his foot. And then for a while, he'd look at me like this look that I didn't want to look at. And I was convinced, I said, Dick, he's paralyzed. Because you hear about that, and you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so anyway, next time he comes out, he snaps Michael's foot, and Michael jumps.
Oh,
you don't know how your life came back to you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to be dramatic.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But it
No,
comes
I
back
get
to you where you have a 10-year-old kid
yeah.
that's injured and look like very seriously, and you can still read about it,
Yeah.
whether it's hockey or football or whatever.
Or just riding your
And
bike or
that-
skateboard.
right?
Yeah, right,
and-
exactly.
It happens.
And that was the scary, honest to God, the scariest part of my life as far as seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
And he bounced back from that. But I do want to make that correction. We were in Tucker Field. He won't.
I think it was tailgate in the parking lot.
He won't admit to it.
He was just closing up the tailgate.
Yeah.
We were there. We technically were there.
Told this gut-wrenching story.
I had
It's supposed to be an uplifting story, isn't
I
it?
had, I had to finish a beer.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You don't remember that kind of detail if you're not there.
Yeah, no, and
Thank you.
And I
Thank you for the help.
But the funny part, after the femur, it was like, okay, you either, if you're going to be 1 split second late, turn around and leave.
Oh,
Right? That was
was I ever late to a game
never.
after that?
So after he would show up hours before,
Yeah.
where it'd be like, hey, your dad's in the stands like 2 hours.
I didn't dare not to.
So that was like that
wanna
was
get the
our
best
kind of
seat.
superstition.
And I do it for his daughter. I do it for his daughter now.
No
He goes,
kidding.
he says, Dad, why are you at the hockey game so early? I said, because I want to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm there well in advance to all my grandkids now.
Nice.
that's awesome.
yeah. So we're I think
incredible.
We were doing a leap from
So,
average
yeah,
when I
so
broke
how
Yeah,
long did it take
FEMA,
you, by the way,
knocked
to
out,
recover
paralyzed,
from that
Almost
10-year-old?
paralyzed.
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, I
6
think I was.
months.
My
6
God,
months?
you've been bedridden.
Yeah,
more
well,
than I've
jeez,
been.
well, I
more
was
than I've been
walking.
He was walking.
I mean, you should have started the book back then.
Exactly. What am I doing? I should be in academics. You know, it didn't happen.
So 6 months for the paralyzation. How much for
Well,
the
no,
fever?
I was walking, but meaning like I couldn't get back into
Yeah,
competitive
yeah.
sports
Oh, yeah.
for like it
But
was
you
like 6
recovered.
months
You
or
had to
something like that.
recover.
Recovered and not get what I recovered
that-
fine, and then
Now, that was probably mentally, too. You probably had to mentally recover from that.
when I will get back to football, the reason why I played quarterback in high school was because of that reason.
Yeah.
I got back the next year. I played, and my dad is like, if you're going to play like that, you shouldn't play because I was scared. There's no doubt. I was wasn't hitting like I used
Didn't
to.
wanna
I was a
hit.
madman
Yeah, yeah.
before, and now I'm like. So then when I get to high school, I still wanted to play football, so I switched to quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's. But I think your question was like, what was the switch?
Yeah.
Oh, when did
Yes.
you make the leap? When did you went from
Yeah,
average?
when'd you
and-
figure out?
average
Was
When'd
it,
you figure out you wanted to?
was it a mental thing or was it a physical thing?
When did the
100%
no, when did the
mental.
no regret things kick in? Right.
So I don't know why, but I always had an understanding that at an early age that I didn't want to live with regret. That I didn't want to one day look back and be like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't know why. I'm not really sure. I remember that in middle school. But when it came to high school, going in like the end of my junior year, I got called into the principal's office, Mr. Lynch. It wasn't a pleasant conversation. In my junior year, I was all league quarterback. I started at quarterback, led the team in scoring. I was all league in hockey and baseball. I had a good year, but I was nothing but average. I was a dime a dozen. And he called me in, and then academically, I wasn't doing well. And I think, fortunately, what really smacked me in the face is I bombed my SAT. I did very poorly on it. Not even thinking, okay, I'll just do the SAT and I'll get
right.
whatever.
See.
And yeah, exactly. And Mr. Lynch called me in, and he had a heart-to-heart talk of what are you doing? Like, you're giving yourself no options. It doesn't matter how good an athlete you are if you're not going to perform in the classroom. Like, you're going to go nowhere, basically. And that was right before the summer into my senior year, and I realized that was kind of my come to Jesus moment of like, I need to bear down. That summer, I worked extremely hard. And then literally the night before my senior year started, I'm sitting in my room, and I read about this in the book. I'm sitting in the room and just kind of daydreaming about this is it for me. Yeah. I knew I I knew that there was no turning back. It's my senior year. And there was a tape in the old tape deck. Yep. And I'm looking, I don't even know how it got there. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, so I went over and I played it. And it was this guy, Bob Richards, and he was a motivational speaker. And it was an hour-long motivational tape. And it captivated me. It hit me right between the eyes. And I'm listening to this, and I have no idea how it got there. And he was a 1950 and 1954 gold medal pole vaulter. Turned into a motivational speaker. And this guy, you can find his stuff on YouTube. To me, it's a Zen thing for me. I hear his voice and I'm like, it's a switch.
What was his name again?
Bob Richards.
Bob Richards.
Bob Richards. So he only passed away like 2 years ago. So
gold medal.
So I was listening to this tape, and the whole premise of this tape, and this is why my subtitle is Finding Genius in the Average Athlete, is that his whole thing was there's genius in the average man. And he said, God must have loved the average man because he made so many of them.
Yeah.
And by what he thought is that 99% of people get 1% of their capacity or ability out of themselves. He goes, imagine if you got 5%. Wow. If you get 5% of your capacity out of you, they consider you a genius. So that's where that came. He didn't even like the word genius, but he's like, that's what they would consider you. And I think he said, Abe Lincoln said, God must have loved the common man because he made so many of them. So he took that from Abe. I took it from him of finding Jesus in the average man. I'm like, God must have loved the average athlete because he made so many of them. So most people want to be average. Most people
satisfied.
They want to live in the comfort zone of not stretching. Yes. So all those things are hitting me at the same time. So it's not any one thing, but I was really impacted by movies. And when I read a book, I read a sports biography, and that's why I wrote it. Because that's how I learned. Mm-hmm. And there was a movie, I'm not sure if you guys remember the movie Vision Quest.
Yes.
It was
Loudon.
I don't.
Loudon Swain.
Loudon Swain.
So Vision Quest,
it's a wrestling movie.
I think it might be one of the best movies of all time.
Unbelievable.
I'm not kidding.
Unbelievable.
Jake said last episode that Jaws was.
Oh, well,
Jaws is.
If you want an inspirational, motivational book,
that's not a sports
Vision
movie,
Quest.
It's sports movie, Vision Quest.
Vision Quest.
All right.
So
You never seen Vision Quest?
Oh,
I gotta look it up.
I never
was
seen it either.
obsessed with this movie. So Matthew Modine plays the lead part, and his whole thing is that the start of the movie was he wakes up as a senior year. He's like, I'm 18 years old. I'm not ready for it. He goes, and this is a year I'm going to make my mark.
Yeah.
And that's how I thought. Yeah. I really took that from that movie, and all these things. Yep, that's the movie.
Vision Quest.
That looks like an 8-track.
So the crazy thing about it, right?
Definitely doesn't look like a movie I'd select if I saw.
No, but that's different. That's a girl that ends up staying with him. He ends up having an affair. It's about a whole coming of age. But the guy wanted to make his mark, and there was
chick flick, is it?
There was this one guy who was it was an undefeated state champion all 4 years he was in high school. Was it the shoot? At a shoot. So, but the shoot was two weight classes below him, and he was already a skinny guy. So he lost weight to come down to a lower weight class to wrestle this guy who was a 3-time going on 4-time state champion.
He was a legend.
Shoot is a legend. Yeah, unbelievable movie. And
people are like, "What?" They're like, "Why are you doing this? Are you crazy to wrestle Shoot?" Yeah, Shoot was like an Adonis. He was the best ever. And they're like, you're dropping 2 weight classes to get to wrestle him. So his high school coach wasn't happy with him. The teammates weren't happy with him. But he's like, this is the year I'm making my mark. So he commits to doing this because his whole thing of that is that he knew that most people just waste time.
Yeah.
They think they have all this time, and all of a sudden they waste it, and that moment goes by.
And his weight class didn't have anybody spectacular, so he wasn't going to make his mark in his weight class.
Yeah, right.
Well, he wasn't going to win it. He wasn't a great wrestler. I mean, he was a decent wrestler, even in his weight class. It wasn't guaranteed he was going to win his weight class, but it wasn't going to be like the victory of a lifetime, like going down for Shoot.
So it's such an inspirational movie, and it's funny because the day that I published my book, which was April 15th, I'm on TikTok, and randomly, a thing comes up, and it's Dana White. And I like Dana White. I'm listening to him, and he starts talking about Vision Quest.
No way.
And I'm the day I look at it, I'm like,
wow.
I said to my wife, you'd never get, because she is sick of hearing me talk about Vision Quest. So is my daughter. But I'm like, and he goes, I think this is the best movie of all time. It hits on so many. He goes, hit me right between the eyes, just like me. It was one of those things I knew that if I didn't go all in my senior year, nothing was going to happen for me. So if I don't do that, my hockey career or my sports career probably ends in high school. It doesn't go on for 12 more years.
So I got to go and watch Vision Quest tonight.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
much of
With
that?
your son.
How much of that
Good
was
point.
you as well? Like,
The
or was
what?
that all him?
None.
Making
No.
that mindset change.
Well, he always, as I was kidding before, that
Yeah.
he was always, he talked about his competition with his brother.
Yep.
And his brother was a good athlete, but didn't have the get up and go like this guy. I never had to push him.
Right.
And I'll give you a good example. When he broke his femur,
Yep.
the doctor, Dr. Lucas, I still remember the doctor, said to him, well, this was at Columbus Day. I remember the day. And he said, you're not going to play hockey. You're obviously not going to play football. Maybe baseball. And I think you were a catcher in baseball. Weren't you? Catcher.
Catch a third baseman. Yeah.
So he said, and this guy, he came home and he said to me, I'll be back playing hockey. And he worked on it. I had to build these steps up that he had to work on. Never once did I say, are you working on your steps to build your leg up? And never had to. He worked his rear end off on it. And all of a sudden, he's back in the playoffs in hockey. And I mean, not just out there. He was ruling the whole thing, not to brag about it, but
You can brag.
he
You're
did.
allowed.
No,
Yeah,
he
dad,
he
yeah.
did. He
Your
took,
dad.
and then he's playing on baseball as a catcher. So I used to kid with him. Not that I was kidding. I was serious. You don't have speed. So a year later, is that I walk into the recovery room when they took the rod out of his thing, and I thought it was like a thin wire.
Oh, those are big.
Well,
Those are big.
he has it shaking it at me. He says, "You see why I didn't have speed?" And because I got to him that I told him he didn't have any speed. I said, "You better get."
But you were still ruling on the ice.
Yeah.
Even with a rod in your leg?
I came back for basically the playoffs. We won the state championship that year, my sophomore year. Now, I was
With a rod in your leg.
I was playing. I was playing a regular shift. I
baseball,
scored
too.
a goal in the championship game. I was not where I was where I should have been if I didn't get hurt. And then so I had to work towards that rod, because he used to make fun of me. He said, "Oh, the pin that's in your leg." And I'm like, "Pin, huh?" I'm not kidding you. I still carry to this day the rod in my car.
No way.
I carry the rod in my car.
You didn't bring it with you tonight, did you?
I should have. But I bring it in I had it in my car, and I was like, "What do you have this in your car?" I'm like,
Inspiration,
for me, it's a
man.
It's a
reminder.
memory.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of
reminder.
overcoming stuff, and you could take the thing and beat something.
Oh,
with
it's
it.
my buddy. I don't know if you remember Andy Sunholm.
Yeah.
Sophomore.
He crashed his dirt bike. He had to get a rod in, and you're lucky because he ended up getting like his one leg was half inch shorter than the other. He had a limp for the rest of his life. But when they pulled that rod out and he brought it, I was like, "This is a solid." Metal
It's
rod,
rebar.
It's like
I didn't know they pulled it out.
It's like the thickness of the base of your pinky. It's
I didn't know they pulled the things out. I thought they left them in there.
Yeah, no, they pull
Right
them
through
out
my
after a
hip.
while.
Right
They
through
have
the
a
hip.
little
No
screw
way.
thing on it.
You know what they
Screwed
pull
and
them
pulled
out?
it out.
You ever
Unscrew and pull it out.
You ever see those dent pullers when you pull a dent with a
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah.
use those to pull them out. They
What were you gonna say?
Holy
Well,
shit.
When he was shaking in front of me, I felt like a real jerk because I had kidded with him. I said, "Oh, that little thing they had,
Apology accepted.
So you had a moment of clarity.
but yeah,
moment of
And then y'all
clarity.
went
I knew the apology was coming someday.
And then y'all went out and buried it in cement so that it could be sturdy enough to hold something big. No, I'm just
and
kidding.
Dr. Lucas, who was one of the top orthopedics in Providence and had quite a reputation, he looked at him afterwards when he went back for, I think, that's probably a checkup or something. Couldn't believe he played hockey and couldn't believe he was a catcher on the baseball team.
I can't believe it either.
And he says, "I'm totally amazed." And I don't think I ever even told you, but somebody that went to Dr. Lucas was telling him about this kid from Cumberland who he, had to put a rod in, and the kid played sports and everything. But he told that story. He didn't use his name. He just told the story. So the person told me, he says, "Was he talking about Michael?" Because he knew he had that. So that was but that's how he was in more ways than one, is he never gave up on anything, and it wasn't. Sure, I influenced, the overall competitiveness and whatnot, but never had to push him. And in fact, he had a PT guy, remember Arthur? And when he got hurt up in Canada, we had him come back, and we went to the PT. He
Another injury.
Oh, that was
story,
another
yes,
injury.
that's
Yeah,
You really got to read the book.
that's what you got. You got to read. No,
Hey,
seriously.
I'm halfway there. I bought the book.
I have
It's halfway there.
my problem
After
is
the
like-
launch party, I bought the book.
My problem is I give it to
read
my
the-
kid. I don't know where the hell it went.
Well,
Yeah.
chasing the gold.
yeah, but the thing is, this guy, a therapy guy, he told me afterwards. He said, "I've never seen anybody so bent on getting back to where he was." He says he just won't give up, and we try to back him down. Slow down, and he wouldn't do it. And that's how he was. That's his mind.
Mindset.
I will say this. I think it's funny. I'm really into the psychology part of it. So a couple of years ago, I was coaching, and I took like a certification course in mental performance training, right? Through this guy I follow online. I took it, and I did it more because I wanted to teach the kids I was coaching in a formal way of how you build mental toughness. And so I'm really aligned to the people in that community and talk and message with them. And I learned it probably before most people did. And really because I had no choice.
Right.
I had no choice in my mind, because I always viewed it like, this is my life. I'm going to go after my dreams. Nobody's going to tell me what or what not to do. And if I have to battle through these injuries, well, that's my life. That's what's in front of me.
Yeah.
And I write about it a lot of like what I went through from a mental side of it, and about, I had a memory bank. I always call it a memory bank, and I'm constantly adding stuff, depositing into the memory bank, because when times get tough, and they will.
I'm pretty sure everyone has a memory bank.
Yeah. But
Some people just don't use it.
That's true. But I try to.
Yeah.
No, you I have what I call a memory bank. No, we all have a memory bank.
But mine's just, related to sports. I'm like, where I would like, when times get tough, I'd be like, I pull out of it being like, I went through this, the ride.
You have like your inspirational memory.
Yeah,
bank that
that's-
you pull that shit out of.
100%. Where kind of, you're going to, if you got high goals, you're going to go through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And what can you control? Control the controllables, right? So for me, I can control those things.
I use that today. I use that term today. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's such a huge thing because
don't worry about the stuff you can't control.
Correct.
and logically, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I'm like, I can't control what the ref is doing, how the ice is of the team over there. I can't control the winning. I can control myself.
Yeah.
And
You get in your own head, and you can control how you react to.
yeah,
Yeah,
Things
that's
that
what
happen.
the gist behind that whole thing is, right?
yeah. So whether it was injuries or just simple playing and advancing in my career, it's the same mindset.
Yeah.
And if I didn't do that and buy into that at an early age, I wouldn't have had a career at all. So, that's what I'm trying to pass on with the book. I'm like, these are simple things you can learn. Yeah. And I kind of always, now it's easy looking back on it. I'm like, people said, is it hard making it to the Division I and the pros? And the easy answer is, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
But as an
Kinda
older
supposed to
person
be.
now, I have a different perspective on it. And I
38.
38, you think. 38 years old, that's true. That was 2 years ago, so I'm closer to 40.
Oh yeah.
So, but I look at it now differently where I'm like, you know what? And I said this to my U16 team, my girls team that I coach. I'm like, everybody wants to play D1 on that team. Like, you guys think it's easy or hard? And they're all like, it's hard. I go, actually, it's easy. Now I look at it, it's easy. And here's the reason why. Number one, people quit when it gets tough.
Yep. Yes.
Number two, people truly don't listen and then implement what they're being taught. And that's really what it comes down to. So I view myself as I was that person that I was always listening. I might have been tough to coach.
You want
But I was listening.
You want my comment on that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How long do you have?
Yeah, that's
the
a
whole night.
separate podcast.
Okay. All right. Well,
So, yeah.
we'll push that aside.
But basically, I looked at it that way. Now as an adult, I'm like, it's actually I tell my daughter all the time, it's easy. Most people are not going to put the work in.
They're not.
I go,
No,
it's
100%.
15, I say 1% of your day is 14 minutes and 24 seconds. And if you do that every day on a skill, you're 100% automatically going to get better. Do you think that's tough? 14 minutes and 24 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, everybody says that's easy. No, it's not. Because that one day you're going to be like,
I don't want to.
No, I don't want to do it.
So
It's funny. I tell my kids the same thing because
Yeah.
I coach
You and I
baseball
talked about it.
softball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, yeah, you can go to practice and everything else, but it's not what you do in the practice. It's what you do after practice. And, I always tell all my kids, I'm like, I want you to look in a mirror and take 100 swings a night. It's going to take you 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But I want you to make sure that your bat's at the right angle, your arms in the right spot, your legs.
Yeah.
Want your hip rotation, and, stuff like that. You know what? When they come back to practice next time, how many just stood in the mirror and did it? I might get one kid.
yeah.
And it's like, and you're right. That's what it is.
And that's why it's
like,
easy.
You don't put the yeah, exactly.
to me, I'm
100%.
like-
You're right.
You know people are not going to do it. I always
They're
say
not going to do it.
most people growing up, high school and even the college, when I went to college, I was the last guy chosen on for UMass Lowell. I was basically a walk-on. 6 kids got brought in my class. I was the last one. I didn't even go for an official visit. They were offered me a scholarship, and I think they offered me meal money before it was like one of those Seinfeld episodes. It might have meal money. I'll take it. They might have followed up with like room and board tuition, but they're like, well, we got him on meal money. Let's just give him meal money.
Well, my father will pay for it.
Yeah, he's fine. So
just to talk a little bit about average, right? Like just being average. I believe that there are a lot of average people out there, and it's very there's a lot of competition in average.
Yeah.
When you get above average, when you finally break out of that, to break above that ceiling, there's not a lot of competition up there, so it's easier to perform at that level.
But when you get there,
Yes.
it's a different level of average.
Sure.
We have a saying in the army, that iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Right. And when you get to that level and you're surrounded by people that
Above
are
average,
then that becomes a new average, and you have to,
Right.
and that uplifts you.
Yeah.
You
Sets a new bar.
Yeah.
But
And you excel in that situation, and either you adapt or you're cut.
If you don't get motivated,
It's
you're
unfortunate.
going to fall behind.
You're right.
I remember, and he'll back me on this. He was up in Calgary's training, or maybe training camp,
see.
and I remember him calling home one time, and he was up there, and he had a great college career and was well known and whatnot, and drafted.
Yep.
And he goes, Dad, you should see. This is in Canada now. You should see the kids that have come in here, like in walk-ons. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said they're unbelievable.
Walk-ons,
I've got to
the walk-ons.
walk-ons. He said,
the undrafted guys.
I've got to work. Yeah, I got to
That's
work
pretty
my. I got to work my tail off because I don't want to lose a spot because a walk-on comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And my point being is he saw the competition, and they weren't even drafted, but they were good. And it's amazing when you get up to that level.
Yep.
And we could tell a number of stories that I know from conversations I've had with him and his brother. When his brother was at Assumption, he was a starting shortstop. But in his freshman year, he's out at shortstop. He calls me that night. He said, Dad, I'm one of 5. There were 4 others who were captains of their high school teams. So every level you go up, the competition gets tougher and tougher.
Yep.
And mentally, you better be ready.
Well, that's why you said when you came in tonight, why do you keep going? Why do you keep going? You don't want that person behind you to catch
That's
you.
right. That's
good point, yeah.
I'm a firm believer on that one. Yeah.
It's funny. Every level I went to, high school to prep. Actually, my toughest transition was high school to prep. Prep to college was easier, and college to pro was easier. It was I went from basically a Division IV high school hockey program
Yep.
Average.
to average.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, to prep.
Yeah.
I wasn't considered one of the top 15 players in the state as an 18-year-old. A year later, I go to prep. I realize I always had that moment the first day or so, like, uh-oh. And then I quickly got out of that mindset and was like, okay, well, now you got to turn it on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by the end of that year, my prep school year, I got like I said, very tiny scholarship to UMass Lowell. But in June, I get drafted in the NHL. So I went from not a top 15 player in Rhode Island to 188th in the world.
What
The
was
next
the
year.
time frame? So 1 year.
1 year.
Holy shit.
1 year. And then I went to Lowell, even though I was drafted. Go ahead.
That transit, you talked about the guy who made those motivational recordings.
Yeah.
So you said that was the catalyst to get you to
Yep.
was there must have been a lag physically. I mean, you was it just a mental thing? Were you already physically there and it was a mental shift?
It was definitely a mental shift.
And that all happened in
a
one
year.
In 1 year. And what he
That's
talked
amazing.
about in
That's
that
great.
tape,
Yeah.
and you should listen to it.
Yeah.
You get about a 10-minute clip and listen to it, right?
I'm currently doing my 10th motivational speech.
Well, there
Was
you
that
go.
was
No,
it
we're
an
not
eight-
talking
was that
about your
a-
school board speeches.
Was that an 8-track back then?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been.
No, it was on a scroll. It was a scroll.
I told kids about it. I coach about this tape, and they're all like,
Yeah.
just trust me.
Yeah, just go.
I
Just go.
gotta before
Just
I
go
can
with
listen
it,
to that,
man.
I got a book to read. You know?
Exactly.
I got a
Yeah.
book.
I'll get that on.
And by the
audio,
way,
too.
I put the tape in his machine.
Yeah.
No,
You were the one.
So you owe me.
No, that's a funny. So there's Bob Richard. He would talk. His big thing was that everybody has a weakness, and you have to have self-reliance and self-actualization of what your weakness was. So even though I was in a top 15 player in the state of Rhode Island, and I was not happy about it, I also had the thought of like, you know what? Those guys are better than me right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're going to be better than me in a year.
Yeah.
So his big thing was Bob Richards was that you got to turn your weakness into power.
Yeah.
Find your weakness and turn that weakness into power. So that's what I did. So I was a relatively strong kid. And when I got out of Cushing and I got drafted that summer, I knew I had to make my mark again my freshman year at Lowell. So I walk in my freshman year. Nobody knows me. I'm actually, they screwed up my housing, and I'm in one dorm, and 5 of the other guys are in a different dorm. So a week later, we get together for into school for off-ice testing. And they do the bench press, a squat, and a couple other things. And that's a little archaic now, but that's what they did.
Typical.
So I go, the big one was the bench press. And I go in, and they look, and I don't look that big. They're like, oh, he's good size. There were bigger guys than me on the team. And we go through it, and there's 40 guys around. And I go through the bench press. So I end up breaking the record as a freshman, incoming freshman. I broke the school record for the bench press. That's 330 pounds. And everybody's like, who the hell is this guy? But for me,
Mike
the reason
Murray.
why the coaching staff
Because you hadn't walked in 3 years.
well, it was bench.
You were just doing bench
was all
press.
upper
Yeah,
body.
there was no lower body. But every gym session was just.
I controlled the controllables. If you see it in the book, I have in the book there's a picture of my workouts, and I still have it to this day in my office. I found it, and the stuff that my dad always kept for me, and it was my workouts, and I had every hour accounted for in the day, Monday through Sunday. This is what I did at 8, and I built in time to hang out with friends. So it wasn't like I had a ton of fun, but I controlled the day.
Yeah.
And I come in my freshman year and I break the record. And that's the reason why the coaching staff gave me so much playing time my freshman year. Even though I was behind everybody, they're like, well, this guy's got something. Let's give him a shot.
Yeah, give a shot.
If I didn't do that, I'm not getting any playing time. Who knows how my career goes?
right,
So
right.
that's kind of the things I had.
And he didn't like girls, so he had a lot of time on his hands.
I was wondering.
Can we
Was that hereditary? Was that hereditary too?
exactly. Oh, yeah.
So just real quick, I think we're going to take a quick break. I think, but before that, did you really put that tape in his deck? You didn't. Okay.
I will tell you the quick story, beyond as we take the break. I learned, so I write in the book, I still to this day don't know how that tape got
How
there.
that got there.
My brother Kevin reads the book. He's like, that's my freaking tape.
Oh,
35 years later,
brother.
Yeah.
a month ago, I learned
brother,
that's my brother's tape. And I probably knew that. But back then, a tape's that's golden.
funny.
I didn't want him to take it back. And I didn't have the tape.
Back then, yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
let's take a quick break, and we'll come back and pick it up where we
Continue.
left off.
Yeah, it's-
This episode is brought to you by the Cumberland Coalition for Small Business, committed to empowering local entrepreneurs with the tools and support they need to succeed. Whether you're launching a new venture or expanding an existing business, the Coalition offers access to resources, advocacy, and meaningful connections that drive real growth. Because strong small business builds stronger communities. Visit CumberlandCoalitionForSmallBusiness.com to learn more.
And we're back. So we left off. You were just finishing up your senior year in high school, and tell us what happened after that. Like, so where did you go after you graduated?
So I went to Cushing Academy. So I decided that I needed to go to prep school. Probably before my senior year started. I just knew if I wanted to play, my goal was to play Division I. I want to play in the pros and in the Olympics. So I knew I'd have to go to prep school. And so it ended up being Cushing Academy. They were basically the only school that would take me, right? And it was one of the toughest years of my life because all my friends are going to their first year of college.
Yep.
My girlfriend at the time, she moved away in Virginia to college, and then I'm Friday night study hall, Saturday classes, Saturday night detention, all that stuff. But it was a tough year. But
No.
Surprise.
I
know that
He
joke.
glossed over that quick. No,
Yes.
just kidding.
Surprise.
so I was super focused. So I played football, hockey, baseball there also, and it was funny. The story I write about is I had one game, so I really was an unknown. And I wasn't on the Central Scouting list, which was this list that you kind of had to be on to get drafted in the NHL. And if you're not on the list, it's a fraction to be drafted. And I had this game. It was like Christmas break or so. One of my buddies was home from college. He played football at URI. He was my wide receiver at Cumberland. He was a high school All-American. And the first 35 years ago, 89, he was a high school Gatorade Circle of Champions All-American. The second Cumberland kid to win it was this year. So that was
Wow.
So he was an unbelievable player. Full ride to every 1AA school back then.
You said somebody won this year.
Yeah, Spencer.
Who was that?
Spencer, was a kid from Cumberland. Yeah, he won.
Spencer, yeah.
So it was the first time in 35 years. So
Wow.
Chris was the guy. He was a phenomenal player.
Congratulations, Spencer.
Yeah.
Was it fine?
Huh?
Was it fine?
No,
What was
he was a quarterback.
Quarterback.
Last name was Spencer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Spencer.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I think he's
unbelievable.
going to
Welcome
URI,
back
so
to the
yeah.
show.
He's
Jay.
going to
No,
URI.
just kidding.
Evan Spencer.
He's going to
messing with
URI.
Yeah, URI too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chris came. He was redshirted that year. He came up to he wanted to see a game. So it was Christmas break. Came up. It was like midweek, and I was feeling terrible. I was kind of sick. He's there, and he had been on one of those college benders. So he comes up with me. It's 2 hours before the game, and all I could think in the game is, I just got to get through this game. I couldn't think about the end of the game because I felt so lousy. So I was so focused on the moment that I didn't realize what was going on around me. We're playing Culver Military Academy out of Indiana, and they were number 2 in the country. And I have the game of my life, right? Game of my life. I have a couple of goals. I laid people out all over the ice, physical. And I came up, and there was a Division III school there to recruit me. And after the game, the coach comes up to me and goes, I got good news and bad news for you. I'm like, all right, well, what is it? He goes, well, the bad news is that school, I think it might have been Babson or Bentley, they don't want to recruit you anymore. And I'm looking at him like, well, what's the good news? He goes, because they think you're definitely a D1 player. I'm like, oh. He goes, and there's 3 NHL scouts that want to talk to you right now. And I'm like, oh. So I go and
Well, it's good news and good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Rangers, the New York Rangers scout was there. Minnesota North Stars at the time was there, and then maybe it might have been Calgary. I said, "Hey, really loved your game. Who are you? No. Who are you?" So they're like, "Would you grab a bite to eat at this diner? We want to talk to you." I'm like, I got my
all
buddy
of them together.
Yeah.
Oh,
3 of them. So I go, I got my buddy from home, came up for the game. They're like, just take him with you. I'm like, okay.
That wasn't.
Oh,
that
shit.
wasn't. John, was it?
No, it wasn't John. It wasn't John. So I get in the car. So my buddy's in the car, and I get in, I look at him, and he's like, to me, he's in shock. And I go, I know. He's looking at me. He's not saying anything. I go, could you believe that? I go, I just literally changed my life.
Yeah.
He goes, he's looking at me. I go, 3 NHL scouts are taking us to dinner right at this diner down the street. And he's still looking at me. I'm like, I played the best game in my entire life. And every scout in the world I didn't even know was there. Right.
Wow.
And he's still looking at me. And I go, what's that? He goes, I just woke up. I missed the entire game. He nodded off. Some people maybe passed out, nodded off. 2 hours later, I come in. So now we're at the diner, and it's me on one
This
side.
must have been a hell of a game.
Me and my buddy. I'm at one side. We're me and my buddy are on one side, and there's 3 NHL scouts on the other side, and they're quizzing me about everything, right? And they're like, "You just put yourself on the radar for the draft," and I'm like,
Yeah.
No
"What
shit.
is going on here?" So that's the game that got me drafted.
Wow.
Because in
No
June,
kidding.
I ended up getting drafted in the 9th round by the Calgary Flames.
Wow.
And which was the most surreal experience for me ever because
I
the
can
year
imagine.
before in Rhode Island, they were like, yeah, you're no good at hockey. Even though you scored 100 points, you're not very good. And all of a sudden,
And that was NHL.
NHL.
Yeah.
So NHL.
That's
I was
crazy.
19. And that day was a crazy day because I didn't tell. Just like writing the book, I didn't tell anybody I was doing it, except my parents knew that
So you
that the
didn't know.
draft was that day.
I did know. Yeah.
They knew the draft was that day, and then my buddy John, he was the only friend I told. His parents were away for the weekend, and we were gonna go to his house. And he was working that day. He kept calling me all day because the draft started at 12. I was in Vancouver that year.
Yeah.
Did you get a call? I'm like, no.
And there was no radio or TV
No
or
internet.
anything
Oh,
like
Yeah,
that.
that stuff. Yeah.
So
They
I
just
was-
said, stay ready because you'll get a call.
Have to sit by
Yeah.
the newspaper
If
stand.
it's-
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's-
right.
You don't
Stay tuned.
So they had our phone number.
Yeah.
So probably
what
like
phones are these?
yeah. And I'm doing the math. I'm like,
So this is nostalgia for everybody
Yeah.
at this table. No, I'm just kidding.
it's so
Right,
I'm
sorry.
doing the math, and I'm like, now it's like 7:00. John's off of work, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, you know what? I think the draft's over. I have no idea because they televised the first hour at like noon. I'm like, all right, it should be over by now. So I'm like, it didn't happen. I'm bummed. I go, I'm going to John's. I go, give me a call. Call me at John's if anything happens. And I'm like, it's over. I go to John's, and we're sitting there for probably 45 minutes, not saying a word, watching TV, not even talking. And all of a sudden the phone rings. So back then, the cord.
Yeah. Good.
we look at each other, and he jumps up, he grabs the phone and the big cord, and I could tell it's my dad. And the only reason he would call is because I got drafted.
I would have called
John's
if he
freaking
wasn't.
out. John knows. He's like, oh, hands me the phone, and then he's like, you did it, bud. And I'm like, and I said, if you are effing kidding me, I will never talk to you for the rest of my life. He said, I'm telling you. So we went to my house, and then it ended up being this big party. We went back to John. It was the best night of my entire life.
awesome.
It was surreal. It was surreal.
But with
all because of 60
with the-
minutes on the ice. 60
It
minutes
was
on
yeah.
the ice.
It was the one game for me because I was not on the list. I was not.
Yeah.
I didn't play at any elite schools, and I came out of nowhere. They're like, "Who?" And then they found out, "Oh, he's a football guy."
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was a big focus on getting bigger players and stronger players. Like, they're like, "Oh, this guy's an athlete. Like, let's take a chance on this guy, and he could score and all that stuff." So I got drafted, and then went to Lowell, and I told you about like the whole breaking the bench press record, and then so my freshman year, I was playing consistently in the fourth line, and I was a scorer in high school, and I had to change my game to being a physical power forward, hit anything that moved, and then I started building confidence. The end of that year, we had a brand new coach taking over, and he was a coach in waiting. Bruce Crowder played for the Boston Bruins.
Yep.
And right before we broke for the summer, he pulls me aside and he goes, "Hey, I need to talk to you." I'm like,
Yikes.
I think I'm getting cut. I think we don't have room for it. He's like, "Hey," he goes, "I think you could be a top player in Hockey East." And I'm looking at him like,
That's not.
I'm like, I'm just hoping I'm getting a shot. So that little kind of talk, the confidence that summer, I went out to Minnesota for 3 weeks and trained, and
That's awesome.
and I came back and I was so high performing at that point. I broke another record. I was ready to roll, and then camp starts. And the first 3 or 4 days, I am awful.
Think about it too much.
Coach calls me in. He goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, I don't know. He goes, "Maybe I was wrong about you."
Oh,
And I'm like, I was devastated. So I'm like, we just happen to have a day off.
That's a kick in the nuts right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So it was like a weekend. We was like, we have Saturday and maybe you have Saturday, Sunday off, come back Monday. So I went home. I remember decompressing and being like, at that moment, I'm like, am I quitting hockey? Am I done here? And am I done at Lowell? Like maybe I'm not good enough. And then I kind of realized, I'm like, I'm thinking about all the wrong things. Why am I So I made a commitment. I vividly remember the next practice, they're going to have to kill me to get the puck off my stick. That was the mentality. That was the mindset. Yeah. Very next practice player of the game, the day. We had this award and hat. Next day, same thing. All of a sudden, I start turning around. Friday, we play our first exhibition game. I scored 2 goals.
That's awesome.
They're like, "Oh." Then we go to our first regular season game, 2 goals. Then the next game, 3 goals. Next game,
that's great.
2 goals. So all of a sudden, I start snowballing. By 3 months into the year, Christmas time, I'm leading the country in goal scoring.
Yeah.
And all the coach had to say was, "You're not good enough."
You're not good enough because I don't. Maybe I was wrong about you, but it was unbelievable to go from maybe this is it for me,
Yeah.
and then I had to make that mind shift of being like, you're thinking about the wrong things here. And within my Christmas time, we're at the University of North Dakota, who's number 1 or 2 in the country, phenomenal team, and they are all over me, and they're treating me like
There
a
was a
star.
mock
And I'm like,
man at that
Oh,
time.
I see.
because they had this national story. They had a college hockey
made.
magazine. They had this big story. It was a featured article about me and about who is this guy?
Yeah, right.
How is he leading the country? So it was like
Came out of
a
nowhere.
crazy shift from like
That's awesome.
where it was to all of a sudden I kind of just took off.
You were on a Hobie Baker watch list at that
Yeah.
time, which
Oh, yeah.
was on Hobie
That's
Baker. If you don't
It's a
know,
big
is-
award.
The Heisman
is the
Trophy
top-
of college
yeah.
hockey.
It's the
kidding.
top hockey player, and then all of a sudden, because you were also on short-handed goals, you led the nation, right?
It was something like that. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was,
something. And but the Hobie Baker thing, it was a beautiful the magazine that he's talking about, and everybody was like, but he became a target, no question about it.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's where he goes, right? Yeah.
But it was to wrap your head around that. It was I always say surreal because I'm like, I was a guy trying to make the lineup a few months ago. Now I'm leaving the country. And I'm, having all these articles written about. It was a lot to take in as a 20-year-old kid.
Oh,
going,
yeah.
like, what is going on here?
Well, a few years
it's
before
a
that,
lot.
you had a
It's a lot to take in now.
Pole in
when
your
you
leg.
look at when you look at the time frame that it happened in.
Yeah, it was all in a cup 2 years, and then the U.S. national team asked me to come try out over that summer. So I went, and then I'm at the U.S. national camp, and they're like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Because most of these kids have been playing since they were, these U.S. national
absolutely.
kids, like
Yes.
U16, U15. They're out these, and they're kind of in the system. I was not in the system.
Well,
Yep.
they weren't playing with rods in their legs. in high school,
No, they weren't. So so that's how it kind of took off. And then by my,
You're kind of like a walk on outside the system.
it was kind of crazy. And then my junior year, I followed up with a great junior year. I was an all Hockey East player. And then in the Hockey East tournament, I made the all tournament team. And this is when like Jim Montgomery was on.
Oh, yeah.
Former coach of the Bruins. Was
Yeah,
the
coach of the
played
Bruins,
for Maine. Paul Correa.
No
As a
kidding.
freshman, scored 100 points and won the Hobie Baker as a freshman. First time ever.
Holy.
So you got
So-
you got drafted by Calgary and then kept playing college?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
how,
yeah, that's
they
how they
owned my
work.
rights for
Yeah.
4 years
Yeah,
until I
yeah.
decided I didn't want to play college anymore. They
Gotcha.
owned my rights.
Okay, so that's where I was
Yeah.
a little
Okay.
confused.
Yeah, you should learn a little bit about
I
hockey.
should learn a little
and,
bit about hockey.
I mean,
I don't
it's-
know. I don't know
Jay,
much
my-
about hockey. I
I'm
don't
glad
know
that you
about-
asked the question because I don't know anything.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it's a little in Canada. They because it's a different system out there.
Canada,
They might own your rights for a year at an NHL team, so they'll sign them early. In the U.S. and college, as long as you're in college, they own your rights. They don't need to sign you. But once you declare that you're not playing college anymore, they had 30 days to offer your contract.
So after you got drafted, I don't mean to interrupt. After you got drafted, because I'm learning, as the mayor eloquently said, I should learn about hockey.
yeah.
Well, after you got drafted, did you go to Calgary or did you just talk to him on the phone?
No.
or-
So I went to a camp in Minnesota.
Oh, that
for like 3 weeks, and that was
so they sent you there.
Yeah.
They sent me there,
Yeah,
but the rules were different back then. Now if you're drafted, that you go to like a camp in the summer, and it's all league. Back then, they weren't really allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So I went to this camp in Minnesota, run by the San Jose Sharks.
No, I had to pay for it.
Yeah, whatever.
No, no. I
Oh, you had to pay
did
for
I ever
it?
get my money back?
Yeah,
You had
you
to pay
did.
for it?
No, because he was in
Hey,
college.
the book is about to take
And-
off. You're going to get your money
Yeah,
back.
I know, right?
which I never did.
But
We're a
you do
big
know-
thing, you know.
That's crazy. They made you pay for it? They didn't just get
Yeah.
that wasn't
Yeah.
a,
Because you couldn't, because-
they couldn't because he's a
Eligibility.
Okay, yeah. 'cause-
However, when I signed my NHL contract, he made them reimburse him for the money.
That's
No
right.
way.
No way.
Ah,
They
I
did.
love it.
Yep.
They did.
That's a
I
business
said-
side,
I-
businessman over there.
because I kept
Yeah.
the
You said that you were
Receipts.
going to do this.
no, I did, and,
He's like, "Hey, you
and I
dirty
can tell
buggers."
you the guy, and he was not much of a personality, but Clearwater
Yeah.
was the liaison between Calgary and Michael,
Yep.
and he played for the Providence Reds, so it was interesting, and he didn't know how to take me, and he signs the contract, and I go, Ray, I said, see this bill? I put this money out. We're getting it back. Oh, yes, Mr. Murray. Yes, yes. I said, you better.
You were used to negotiating with the international.
Well,
That's right.
well, it was funny
Wasn't speaking
because
Chinese.
it was a funny. Another side story is, so he's picked up by this agent, Louis Gross, who had no idea. He had a couple of good players. So we get into a conversation, and my corporate attorney for the company I was working with helped him rewrite contracts and everything because he was all screwed up. Good guy at that time, but as soon as he got hurt, he ditched him. But this guy now is Swayman's. He's
Oh, no way, really?
Swayman's agent.
No kidding, huh?
He's still around. I'm like, jeez.
No, he's out in you said he's out in Denver now, right?
I think he's back in New York.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I like to kill. No, I can't say that.
But yeah, so it's
Edit.
kind
No,
of
I'm just kidding.
an interesting road. All of a sudden, going from where I was to all of a sudden, it was kind of a national story at that time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Had the good junior year, tried out for the Olympic team. Going into my senior year, got hurt. I know we got
Here we go.
got hurt, but my start of my senior year, I was a preseason Hobie Baker candidate. So it was me, and I was top 10 candidate for the Hobie Baker that year, and then I had knee surgery to start out my senior year.
Did you disclose to them that you had broken your leg at 10, or you would become paralyzed at 10?
HIPAA.
Broken your leg?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an investment at that point,
Oh, yeah.
right? They would,
Yeah, there was a ticking time bomb at that point. Yeah. So I ended up getting hurt my senior year, but then got back middle of the season. It's just part of the deal, you know what I mean?
Part of the deal.
And you just had to fight through it. And then we ended up having a great year and went to the NCAA tournament that year and beat Michigan State at Michigan State.
Oh,
no
wow.
kidding.
And,
He had the winning goal, by
That's
the
a
way,
big W.
Of course you did.
at Michigan State, and the place we were out at it, obviously. You never saw anything like it because Minnesota was in it. Actually, Northeastern was another team. I don't know who the fourth team was.
Lake Superior State.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he has the winning goal to beat Michigan State, knocks them out of the tournament.
in their home.
And then had a play, right. And the place is going wild. The next day they had to play Minnesota, and which was a game I'll never forget because they took them to 2 overtimes.
Oh, wow.
And but going back to it, the fans of Michigan State, because we probably had a dozen fans, right, or 20, maybe 25 out there.
All parents.
All the parents,
All the
right?
parents.
Yeah.
So Michigan State fans rallied around the Lowell fans, and they're buying us beer and
Oh,
everything.
no way.
Of course, I refused it because
Oh, yeah, you want the team to beat you to win the whole thing,
That's
right?
right.
Then you say, hey,
Oh, yeah.
I got
And,
beat by the
They ended
best.
up losing in double overtime.
yeah, double
No
overtime.
kidding, huh?
To go to the Final Four.
And he came
No
back to
kidding.
the hotel. I always remember this. Comes back to the hotel, laid down in the bed. We couldn't get him off the bed. He was
paralyzed
so
again. No,
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
well,
Just smoked.
pretty much. No, I mean he was just was out.
Well, it's funny because you guys, if you're watching the NHL playoffs, you know Anson Carter?
Yeah.
So he's on the NHL Network, and he played, 14 years in the NHL, but he was one of the commentators on NHL Network. And this was about 2 weeks ago, and I think it was the Devils were playing maybe Washington, and went into like double overtime. And it's probably 11:39. I'm watching the game. All of a sudden, so it's between periods. He starts talking about he played for Michigan State. We beat him. He starts talking about like when he lost in
No
college
way.
at UMass Lowell, and I'm like, "What?"
was he?
I start filming. it. I'm
No
like,
way.
And we got robbed in that game. He's going.
Is that what he said?
Oh yeah. The goalie stood on his head, which our goalie was awesome. Played in the NHL for 15 years.
Rollerson.
Dwayne Rolson.
Oh, no shit.
And I'm videoing it and I'm sending that out to all my buddies from college. I'm like,
That's
are you
awesome.
kidding me? Yeah. So 35 years later, whatever it was. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's still got it.
Because I think didn't you stop him on a breakaway or something?
something like that.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable player. I mean,
He was, but-
fast.
But
Yeah, he was a player. So
you got in his way is probably what happened.
So,
probably tripped over.
I was saying, probably a day.
I said you were slow.
I was just in the right
I
spot.
was
Wrong spot at the right
exactly.
time.
You're just so slow. You're never reaching
I tried to tell him when he was younger.
Wasn't exactly just a speed burner that way.
so you were telling us a story earlier about an orchestrated fight. What? Take us
Yeah.
back to that. That's
Yeah.
probably going backwards, right?
So it's kind of going forwards, but in the book it's backwards. It's
sorry.
actually the start of the book. So we were. This is what on my second year, and I'm in St. John, New Brunswick, with the St. John Flames, Calgary's farm team, in the American Hockey League, and we're playing the Montreal Canadiens farm team. This is towards the end of December. We lose. We had kind of a crazy coach, Paul Baxter. And I thought I played pretty hard. I wasn't great, but I thought I played hard on him.
Yep.
The next day, right before practice, he has a team meeting. And all of a sudden, he starts to rip the team and then turns to me and starts ripping me. And I'm looking at him like, you didn't play. He was all over me. And I was like an assistant captain in my second year. So I don't know if he's just trying to target me because I'm a leader of the team. So I'm sitting there going, I'm furious. Get out to practice. He designs a very physical practice. Dump the puck in. You're supposed to take out the defenseman.
Yep.
So within 5 minutes, I'm in a fist fight at center ice with one of our French-Canadian defensemen. We're going at it. Coach is blowing the whistle. The drill's going on around us. There's 4 guys trying to break it up. I've kind of lost my mind at this point. I'm giving it to this guy pretty good. And then, they break it up. I smash my helmet. I go in the locker room. I get a new helmet. I come out. I'm still worked up. Drill keeps going. Within 5 minutes, puck gets stumped in. Now I take out my guy was my roommate, this guy Todd Simpson. He ended up being a captain at Calgary, one of the toughest players in the NHL. Clean check, take him out. He doesn't like it, right? So next time we're going to dump the puck in again. And I'm chasing him down. Now I'm kind of come to terms. I'm like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't hit him this time. Or I should slow down a little bit. As I'm getting up to him, I'm slowing down. He puts on the brakes and just elbows me right in the face.
Oh.
Here goes the gloves. Me and him go toe-to-toe. We're going at it, punch for punch. And it's guys are jumping in.
Wow.
This is all a 10-minute period. I fought 2 teammates. It was ridiculous, right? Now I lost my mind.
This is why people watch hockey.
I yell out. I go, I'm going to need a new helmet. I think about how I smashed my helmet. I go in. I get another third helmet. And now it's like they're towards the end, and they're doing drills on both sides, both zones, and the middle is free. I'm just skating around the middle. And I'll get to the point where I'm like, if anybody comes near me, it's not going to be good.
That's right.
So they just leave me alone. Practice ends. I go in a locker room, grab a bag of ice, and I go to the adjoining locker room to calm down. Now I'm coming off of this. Now I'm like pretty upset. Kind of tearing up a little bit because I'm like, I got blood coming out and all this. I'm like, what just happened? This has never happened in my life. In strolls the coach. Well, I'm one of the assistant captains. I'm not sure I had a conversation with him for 3 months. It was just, he ruled by fear.
No kidding.
Now he's going to have a heart-to-heart talk with me. And I'm sitting there going, he starts talking to me. He fought his best friend, who happens to be the general manager at Calgary at the time. And this is why the team respects you, and you're a leader, and yada, yada, yada. And, this is why you're getting called up to the NHL. And I'm looking at him like, he goes, it could be any day. And I'm like, I just went from the worst day of my life to the best day of my life.
Yeah.
Man, you have a lot of those moments.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm sitting there going, I'm coming down. He goes, it's going to happen. He goes, and back then, Calgary was 4 hours by flight from St. John, New Brunswick. So it's like, well, whatever, you'll be the next guy called up. That's how it works. And I've kind of been hearing the buzz about that, my agent. And so that's how I kind of start the book.
No kidding.
Things happen after that. So if you read it halfway through the book, you'll find out.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was a crazy,
So
surreal story. Yeah.
So just to kind of recap it, right? So you're averaged all through high school growing up. You get into high school, you listen to this audio tape that just
Flips the switch.
Almost like hypnosis.
Yeah.
And within a year, you're getting drafted.
Yep.
And so now you're playing college. They're just waiting for you
Basically, I'm done with it.
to say you're done with college.
Yeah.
And then the day that you thought was the worst day of your life, and you're brawling out there on the ice, you get called to the NHL.
Yeah, that's when I find out that you're the next guy getting called up. So it could have been
That's awesome.
the next day, it could be in a week.
Now,
And that's how it kind of happened back then.
remember when it was leaving Cushing, he had a In fact, St. Anselm's wanted them badly, and they were great people. But that's Division III, Mike? Was it a
Technically Division 2, but
Two.
there's no real Division 2.
so anyway?
Yeah, right.
But he had
I'm in trouble hearing you.
he had Providence, he had Providence, Boston College, New Hampshire. I don't think Maine, but I know those three that had him on the list. In fact, Providence was ready to offer him. In fact,
Until they saw me play.
yeah, no, that's not true. Is that McShane was I can remember it like it was yesterday. Was the coach, and one of the assistant coaches was Ami. Was well known. He actually knew my sister or my daughter through college. They went to PC together, and he said, "Would Mike come here?" And he talked to Mike, and Mike would have loved to go on a PC. So it's a funny story because he had to come back and say, McShane doesn't want to take him. He wants a kid, and I still remember the kid's name, Patterson, out of Brockton, who never got over the fourth line. But what it did was this guy took it to heart, and every time he played Providence, he kicked their fannies but the best one was his first time down. I think it was his first time down. They had the U.S. Air tournament, and he was outstanding in that tournament. And the athletic director was a guy I knew from Providence College. And what he said, he came up to me before the game was even over. He said, Mike's been picked as the most valuable player. No. And I said, isn't that something? Because, and then I saw Tim Army after the game. And I said, why don't you tell McShane? I think he made a mistake because this kid didn't play, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
That's better.
Can you
There
hear
he
it?
is.
Huh?
He's back, baby.
Oh, we lost
Back.
Mike for a second there.
Oh. So
It's probably good for some of those stories. Right?
no, but
Oh no, we got all of that. It
that's
was
a good.
just-
That's a good
last
story.
like 15 seconds in the last one. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a
This is
competitive.
like the underdog. This is Loudon Swain, man.
I'm telling you.
Oh,
yeah.
Hit home.
100%, yeah, no doubt about it.
But it's unbelievable. Like
It is.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
literally
Total underdog
literally,
story.
like 2 hours.
Cinderella story, right?
2 hours on the ice, like transformed your entire life. The one where you became,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one game where you were feeling
Yeah.
like shit and
And
you
the
played
one-
your ass
and
off.
the one where you fought everybody, everybody that you were supposed to be playing
Both
with.
of those. That's what I was trying to
You got to fight your way to the top,
and we didn't see the game.
You didn't see the game.
No, it was a
Wait, you were
Yeah.
late. You were late.
No, I wasn't late.
So you turn around and go home.
No, I never made it. I never
Yeah.
made it.
To turn around and go home.
Listen, let me retract that. It was 2 lucky hours of people that recognized what you had worked toward that whole time. Like your
Yeah.
father said, all the never having to encourage you, never you just doing that stuff. But man, I mean, it could have gone a different way. It could have been like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Chips fall-
You could have
Yeah.
had your best game against like the worst team that nobody was at to watch.
Yep.
Totally. I mean,
yeah.
there is
You know
some
what I mean?
divine intervention, I think,
Oh,
in
yeah,
things.
yeah.
And like that tape for me was divine intervention.
Yeah.
Popped
Yeah,
there.
right.
I don't know how. People like, I didn't tell that story to anybody for like years. And I told my wife like, I don't know, a few years back.
Yeah.
Because I always because I'm like, it really happened.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
right.
And,
Yeah.
and things like, Loudon Swain,
Yeah.
that's had an impact on me. So it's not like any one thing. It's like it's an accumulation of things.
Yeah, right.
But there are like certain moments in your life. And the book I wrote is really, to me, a mentoring coaching book.
Yeah.
Because I learned back then by stories. I wrote either watching the movies or I read sports biographies or ESPN, the magazine, or watch ESPN. That's how I learned personally.
Yep.
And that's how I coached. I coached by telling stories because I think it's more, at least I think it's more impactful. So I share my stories and like, here's the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But my belief is that anybody could do what I did. Anybody.
Yeah.
Or their own version of what I
You got
did.
to put the time in.
You got to put the time in.
and dedication
Yeah.
and everything else. Yeah.
And
You can't
And the
quit.
perseverance.
yeah, and I'm like, here's the very last chapter is like,
It's a lot of
the
mindset.
playbook. Yeah.
Mindset.
Here's the playbook. And
I mean, you could have easily taken the negatives and gone down that road, but no,
100%.
you blocked it right there and said,
Yep.
hey, nope, we're going this direction.
Yeah.
And you turn it around.
And the only reason why, and I always thought it this way, I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
This is my story to write. And like, I'm going to do everything I can And I use a quote in the book where it's a John Wooden quote, is that peace of mind is knowing that you did everything you could to be the best you could be. That's it.
Yep.
And I really, if you boil it down to that, that's what life's all about. And particularly the kids that I'm targeting, like aspiring athletes, and whether they're middle school, high school, college, is like, it's not the result that matters. Set the goal. It's about, did you do everything possible to reach the result? And I think as adults, we can see that more clearly.
If you left it all on the table, that's what it means.
I mean,
right?
did I reach my ultimate goal? Well, you'll find out in the book, but
right.
That's not the important part of the book for me. It's not a scrapbook. It's not what I did. It's how I did it.
Yeah.
And the mistakes I learned from, and the great stuff that I kind of did because of the mistakes I learned from, right? So
it's kind of like a diary.
Yeah. And I'm like, and if you could take that, and it takes no special talent, in my opinion, to control the controllables, and, to live in the moment, and to work hard every day, one day at a time.
And his father's great coaching.
Yeah.
You don't want to, it wasn't in the book, by the way, but.
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second.
But seriously, this is all with no pressure from
His
us.
father also coached Brad.
We supported him as we did all our kids, same equal time. And, so that, I mean, the other thing to add to it is that, because he's talked about it a couple of times, his coaching.
Yeah.
When he decided to retire, I said to him, Mike, you know the game inside and out. And you're a motivator. I could tell because I've been in that business, and I know. And not because he was my son, but I just knew how he was. And I said, you got to get into coaching. I want nothing to do with that. And he was adamant about it. He said, I've had it. Hockey is over. Of course, now tells a story about his daughter going in.
Yes.
So, make a long story short, is that he had a great coaching that he's been doing. He had a boys and girls team for a while, then an all girls team, and now he's assistant coach at Fian. The kids love him. His daughter just finished breaking a record as a sophomore at Fian.
Of course.
Was the offensive player of the year.
Wow.
But she works just like her father, by the way.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Well,
I might have to tell her to go out and shoot pucks. Every now and then.
Well, probably do.
It's a different day and age.
No doubt.
But she does it.
Yeah,
But she does.
She does. She does the work. Yeah,
And
it's about doing the work.
And then his two,
You put the time in.
his niece and nephew, who are at Mount St. Charles, idolize him, listen to him all the time. Both of them just made the lacrosse first team out of Mount, as one's in the middle school and one's a freshman, and also good hockey players. So he's reached these kids. This is not a dad talking. This is just facts.
No, absolutely.
That he's reached these kids in a great way, which I think is a tribute to what he's done.
Yep.
At least he's passed that on, and that's a big thing.
Has your dad ever talked this nice about you?
No.
That's a no.
So I think the big thing.
So we're going to wait for the sequel.
Yeah,
big thing is don't give up, right? Like I've always heard it said that.
The sequel is From the Eyes of Mom and Dad. Yeah, so just wait for it. I'm doing it now.
I thought you told me it was a different title.
No, we're on air. I know.
I'm going to tell you right now, to your credit, none of this happens without supportive parents.
Correct.
Oh, you got to have it. Yeah, you got to have it.
You got reimbursed for putting the money up for that
No,
camp,
I didn't get reimbursed. I got a check because I'm not sure I got that check. I want to check.
I'm like, my God. And the other thing is, right, so people, like in sports today, like coaches are so quick to dismiss a young freshman or sophomore when you literally went from not like an average player to a NHL unknown to an in 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
You did it's like that's the inspirational thing.
Yeah, like you said, every step of the way, like, who the hell are you?
So like I was saying before, the dream always comes the day after you stop or after you give up.
Yeah.
So the point is, don't ever give up, and that dream will be there the next day.
I went after the dreams that I had when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yep.
And I made that conscious decision my senior year of high school that I'm going all in. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I can live with that.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to give myself the best shot that I can. And it really it's about controlling the day.
Yeah.
It's not about yesterday. It's not about tomorrow. It's about what can you do today. And I had that mentality. And over time, you got to trust that process.
I think
You have to have a process.
I think you owe it to your brother then for putting that tape in there.
I mean, I'm still not
just
giving it
kidding.
back. I'm still not giving it
I'm
back.
just
He won't admit to it.
So NHL. So you want to go into that, or do you want people to read about that in the book?
Yeah, I mean, you can read the book, but I don't
right.
care.
Well, I was just saying, like,
Yeah.
how if you want to know, read the book.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, give it a good window. Yeah,
I just had
I think it's an interesting story because
absolutely.
my thought process is that not every story ends with the gold medal, and that doesn't mean you're not a success. So whatever goal it is you're setting, again, I can't say it enough to kids that I coach now is that it's not about it's not about the outcome. Right. It is about the process, and I know it's a kind of a catchphrase now, but it's true. Yeah. I went through it. It is about what are you doing every day.
Right.
Things are going to happen. Injuries will happen.
Yep.
The coach doesn't like you. You're not good enough. That happens. But one day you're going to look back and like, I hear probably on I'm going to say weekly basis, once a month about if I just worked harder, if I just from friends or people I know, I don't have that. Yeah. I have a lot of like, boy, that was a bummer that didn't happen, but I don't have the regret that I didn't work hard enough.
Right.
I don't live with that part. To me, living with that is torture.
Yep.
So
100%.
And I think if you're going to do anything, you might as well try to be the best you can at it.
Of course.
It's not being the best in the world. Hopefully that can happen for you.
Well, why do anything if you're not going to be the best at it?
Well, it's not just sports.
Exactly.
It's a life
I ran many salesmen over my career.
Yep.
And the ones that were good were the guys that made it work. Yep. I remember I had one salesman when I was in the plywood business, and this guy was the biggest jerk you could ever meet, but you couldn't outwork him. And he was my top salesman.
Yep.
Difficult to deal with, but it's like everything else. You have to know, what you're after, and it's so important because if you don't do it, you can't. Well, like Mike said a number of times, you can't look back.
No, you can't.
Because once you've gone over that line, you can't get back.
Yeah.
So you better make it moving forward. He had another quick story is that you were coaching a couple of years ago. I always remember it. And he said, Dad, he's coaching a boys and girls team. So they were 14, probably 14. And he worked hard to put a book together of what you have to do to train yourself. And then, remember? Mm-hmm. And he put this book together and he told me he gave it to each kid to work over the summer.
Off ice.
But it was a complete book. And when they came back to, start to work for the team, he said, Dad, I knew exactly the kids that didn't even pay attention.
You could tell.
He said, exactly. And the ones that did work on it had a hell of a year. The other kids fell by the wayside.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. It's
100%.
life. It's life.
That's it.
Life.
Right on.
Yeah, get what you put into it, right?
Yeah, 100% do. Mm-hmm. And some people will listen, some don't. But to me, I think that's where the edge comes from. Because where you find your edge is like, I knew that person. There were plenty of kids more talented than me growing up, but I knew that I outlasted them. I outworked them. And
certainly did.
If you can understand that concept, that's where your edge comes from. You're always looking for an edge.
Absolutely.
100%. Particularly in sports, but in life. But you're looking for that edge. That's where my edge came from. I try to teach kids that, like, listen, just don't quit.
I feel,
exactly.
Right. I feel like I forgot what I was going to say. It's probably not important anyway. Or probably something cool.
You singing on that?
That was good.
I'm sorry. You like that?
Yeah.
We can just edit that out, right?
This is unfiltered. No, it was something good, but anyway.
Well, that's what the sign says.
That's what it says. At least. Right on. So,
read the book.
Read the book.
I'm gonna read it. I've had
So
it for
the
a
stroke,
couple months
the-
now.
the-
I'm gonna steal it from my kids. So
Yeah.
I should read a damn thing.
I will say this: what I'm proud about the book is that the people that have read it have flown through the book. They say,
right.
it's. I was at a client meeting. I was at one of my biggest clients just yesterday, and we had a renewal meeting. I'm in commercial insurance, and I didn't realize she knew I wrote a book.
No kid.
The CEO knew.
No
She's the
way.
head of HR, and before, as we're walking the meeting, she pulls me and said, "Mike, I have to tell you, I read your book." And I'm like, "What?"
That's
I read your
awesome.
book. She goes, "I was on vacation. I heard you wrote a book. I was dying to read it." She goes, "I read it in 2 days on the beach,
No
cover
way.
to cover."
Nice.
And she's like, "Can't believe,
That's
your
awesome.
life." I'm like, I was so touched. I'm like, "Thank you so much." He goes, "The lessons that you're trying to teach kids," and he goes, "That's so impactful." And she goes, I couldn't put it down. I flew through it. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
and for me, I'm trying to get a high school kid or a college kid or middle school kid to read this. And when the publishing company I worked with, they always said you want to write an airplane book. And what they meant by that is that you want somebody to get on an airplane, 3-hour flight, they read the book, they got something out of it, they're done, they accomplished it,
Yep.
and it was entertaining. And that's kind of what I'm most proud of is the people who have read it, they I just, flew through it. I'm like, that was the purpose was to capture that kid, but then everybody else, I think it's an interesting story that you might like.
But with this airplane book, you're gonna need a wheelchair on both sides.
I was just you're like a cat, man. I'm gonna start calling you a cat. You're like so many lives.
I met a friend that I hadn't seen in a long time through business, and he goes, after I wrote the book, out of COVID, we fell out of touch a little bit. He reached out, found out I wrote the book. "Oh, let's grab a coffee." So I do, and he goes, "I got 2 words for you." He goes, "Yoga and swimming." You need to do that immediately. I'm so you did read the book, didn't you?
So that being said, go ahead.
Well,
Give it a
just
sequel.
to add one thing, it's not just a sports book.
Right.
Oh no, yeah,
It's
no.
a motivation
yeah.
of
It's a
how
mental- yes.
mental exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a niece that really lives in New York. Really didn't grow up with our family. Knew Mike just briefly. She's probably 60 years old. She called my wife, and she said, "I read the book, and I can't believe the book, and can't believe what Mike went through." Wow. She has a sick friend that she bought another book just to give her something, to give her a charge and challenge to. I thought that was.
Yeah.
I kind of.
Perseverance, right?
It really sums it up.
So that being said, where do people buy it?
Amazon, or you can get it through Target,
Okay.
Barnes and Nobles, but Amazon's that's majority of the books are sold or Amazon.
So I'll make sure to put the link for that
Awesome,
in the
appreciate it.
description. And
Yeah, I got mine literally 7 hours after I ordered it. The thing was
Yeah.
on my front. It was missing the corner of the top corner. Whatever, 7 hours.
So if you notice, actually, on
that was the one that
most people don't notice it, but on the book there's a on the binder part,
Yeah.
this little thing next to my name is a tape
Oh, from the
That's
tape,
from the tape.
cassette tape.
I'm like, I want the tape on there somehow, so they got it
no
on the
way.
binder.
and
Yeah,
the broken
yeah.
corner was from
So wait,
all
is
of
that
the
like
broken
a
legs.
QR code for the tape?
It's not a QR code, but it's just more I wanted because it's the
Something to
motivation
mem-
behind my
to
CEO was that
commemorate it,
listen to that
something to
motivational tape.
commemorate it, yeah.
So she's like, I could put it on she
No
didn't want to put it
way.
on here, so she
Yeah,
ended
yeah.
up putting it on
That's cool.
the person I worked
Yeah.
with.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet.
And the cover is, it's a real picture of me and my daughter.
So that's my book. You can't have it.
and
Oh, I got one. I was getting it back for my son.
So
Yeah.
That's a
kid.
picture. You said it's a picture of you and your daughter while you're coaching her.
yeah, it's actually
Oh,
me
wow.
coaching our PhD. And somebody, when they asked me when I wrote the book last year, and I finished the manuscript and we're going through editing, they said, "Have you thought about the book cover?" And I said, "No, not at all."
oops.
Yeah,
They're like, well, you're going to start thinking about it. I'm like, because I was so focused on the book and again, the process. And that's it's supposed to be one of the hardest things. And for me, it's kind of all of a sudden it popped in my head. I'm like, this is picture.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that cover was me teaching my daughter, and there's a player in the background that you can see, a little hockey player.
Yeah.
So basically, it's me teaching my daughter about me, about what I went through, and by extension, everybody I've ever coached or whoever wants to read the book, It's me teaching the lessons I learned.
So is that you on the ice?
That's signifying me.
Oh, I was going to say if they actually got a picture, that would have been pretty
No,
cool.
it was either that or next row.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the two.
So that being said- That being said, do you?
Actually, the picture is me.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to let everybody
See,
know it, but
That as you can see that they're double runners.
That being said, do you have any
I knew I was getting that one.
do you have any social media platforms that you want people to follow you at, or do you just
Well, Instagram, Muzzy
Yeah,
25.
do you
I
Muzzy?
have. MUZZY is my
That's what
college
they used to
nickname.
call them.
25. That's my Instagram.
Now, do you
I don't
want
know what they
people to
call it,
follow
handle?
you, or do you-
Sure, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
They do. I don't like. I'm not huge into social media, but I have a LinkedIn and my Facebook and all that. But
So the big thing is send people to where the books
yeah,
could be
yeah,
bought.
Amazon.
yeah, perfect. Amazon, and hopefully
the
they can
goal.
get something out of it and
It's
enjoy
quick.
it.
It's quick to get it. I talked to a guy today. I was at a seminar.
Yeah,
Turns
sure, it
out
was
he
there like
played
2
hockey.
days.
He
Yeah.
played hockey with Michael, and hockey came up, and I said to the guy, "Oh yeah, my son played hockey at a high level. Who is it?" I said, "Mike Murray." He said, "I played with him here when he came
no way.
retired." And so this was early in the morning, and the seminar was all afternoon. At the end of it, I said, "I'll send you the name just in case you didn't pick it up." He said, "I already ordered the book, and it's going to be here tomorrow."
That's
There you go.
So it's that easy to get the book.
Right on. So, for our listeners, if you go to Rumble, YouTube, that's where the visual aspect of this podcast is, at Cumberland Unfiltered or at Cumberland Unfiltered Podcast. We're on all of the audio platforms, the audio podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, whatever it is, we're on that. Again, at Cumberland Unfiltered. And give us a like, give us a share if this motivated you or if it broke your leg.
I promise it ends well.
Next episode, we'll show the rod.
Follow us. Follow us there.
I'll bring it.
Anybody have anything else to put into this? That's a wrap.